Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're going to talk about something that's often swept under the rug, a topic that affects millions of aging men, but is rarely discussed openly. It's about self-care in old age, particularly when it comes to sexual health. The title may sound provocative. Never do this while masturbating in old age, or you could damage your prostate and overall health. But behind those words lies an important message: how your habits can either preserve or endanger your vitality as you grow older. Masturbation in old age is not something to be ashamed of or feared. It is a natural, often beneficial part of human sexuality that continues throughout life. Society tends to paint aging as the end of intimacy or passion, but the truth is far from that. The desire for pleasure, connection, and release doesn't simply vanish with age. In fact, many older adults report a more meaningful and mindful connection with their bodies later in life. The misconception that sexual activity, including masturbation, is somehow inappropriate or harmful after a certain age has done more damage than good. It creates guilt, secrecy, and hesitation in people who deserve to feel at peace with their bodies. Masturbation, when practiced with awareness and care, can support hormonal balance, help with sleep, improve mood, and even promote a healthier prostate. When done mindfully, it stimulates blood flow, keeps the tissues active, and contributes to a positive emotional state. It is also a way for older individuals, especially those without a partner, to maintain a sense of self-love and identity. It reminds you that your body is still alive, still yours, still capable of sensation and joy. It's not about chasing the same intensity as youth. It's about learning new rhythms, new responses, and deeper satisfaction. The body changes with time, but so does your wisdom. This is a chance to reconnect with yourself in a more conscious, healing way. Still, the method matters. While masturbation itself isn't harmful, doing it the wrong way, particularly in old age, can lead to real problems. The habits you had in your 20s or 30s, like fast-paced sessions, tense body mechanics, or even emotional escapism, can now result in physical strain or injury. Aging means your tissues are more sensitive, your recovery is slower, and your hormonal environment is different. That's why it's not just what you do, it's how you do it. The intention and technique behind your actions matter deeply. When masturbation becomes a form of self-respect and conscious enjoyment, it supports your health. When it becomes mechanical or aggressive, it can become counterproductive. You must never force or rush masturbation in old age. Many men, due to old mental conditioning or emotional pressure, fall into patterns where they treat self-pleasure like a task to complete rather than a moment to experience. Rushing through it, tightening every muscle, or pushing past natural limits in search of a climax can create internal pressure. Literally, your pelvic muscles, your blood pressure, your prostate, all are working in coordination during arousal. If you're holding your breath, tightening your abdomen and groin, or trying to climax through brute force, you're not just risking discomfort, you're risking damage. The prostate, already more sensitive due to age-related enlargement or inflammation, can react negatively to that kind of pressure. You might experience soreness, burning, difficulty urinating, or long-term chronic pelvic pain. And for what? A few seconds of rushed gratification? You deserve better. The key to long-term sexual wellness in older age is patience. Pleasure should never be a race. Learn to breathe deeply. Learn to relax your muscles. Take your time and let arousal build naturally. Don't rush toward the finish line. Enjoy the journey. Your body still speaks, but it speaks more softly now. You have to listen more carefully. In doing so, you'll discover that the pleasure becomes more profound, more grounding. It's not just about sensation, it's about reclaiming power over your health and your mindset. Let this be a reminder that aging isn't an end to sexuality. It's an invitation to evolve it. Treat every session as a ritual of wellness. You're not just chasing an orgasm, you're nurturing your vitality. Avoiding excessive clenching, holding your breath, or straining during masturbation in old age is not just a suggestion, it's a necessity for preserving your pelvic and prostate health. These actions might have seemed harmless or even natural when you were younger. You may have gotten used to unconsciously tensing your abdomen, buttocks, or pelvic floor while building up to climax. You might have even held your breath during the most intense moments, thinking it enhanced the experience. But as your body changes with age, those same habits can become counterproductive and even damaging. Your pelvic floor muscles, which support the bladder, prostate, and rectum, become more delicate with time. When you repeatedly clench them too, tightly during arousal or ejaculation, you put excessive pressure on this entire region. Over time, this can lead to chronic pelvic pain, urinary difficulties, and a condition known as chronic prostatitis or pelvic floor dysfunction. These are not minor inconveniences. They can significantly affect your quality of life. Pain during or after ejaculation, constant pressure in the pelvic region, or difficulty urinating can all stem from overstraining during sexual activity. What once felt like a technique to intensify sensation can become a source of lingering discomfort. Holding your breath during arousal might seem like an instinctive way to build tension or focus, but it actually puts your cardiovascular system under unnecessary stress. When you're older, your heart and blood vessels may not tolerate abrupt spikes in pressure as well as they used to. Breath holding reduces oxygen flow to your brain and muscles, increases blood pressure, and can make your climax feel more like a crash than a high. Deep, rhythmic breathing, on the other hand, calms the nervous system, supports circulation, and enhances both pleasure and safety. It also helps you stay in tune with your body's responses rather than forcing them. Straining for orgasm, pushing yourself physically beyond what feels natural or comfortable, is another risky behavior that often goes unrecognized. Older men sometimes feel that if they don't climax fast or hard, something is wrong. This belief creates performance anxiety and drives them to ignore the signals their bodies are giving them. But in truth, forcing your body to climax through strain can cause the prostate to swell, irritate nerves, and even contribute to conditions like erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation in the long run. True sexual mastery isn't about intensity, it's about alignment. It's about working with your body, not against it. Dehydration and stress are two silent saboteurs of healthy sexual function in older age. Many people underestimate how important it is to be hydrated before any kind of physical activity, including masturbation. The prostate and surrounding tissues need proper hydration to function smoothly. Dehydration thickens your fluids, stresses your kidneys and urinary tract, and can make ejaculation uncomfortable or even painful. Water isn't just for your muscles and joints, it's for your hormones, your tissues, and your mental clarity. When you're properly hydrated, arousal feels smoother, more responsive, and more balanced. Stress, on the other hand, can completely hijack your nervous system. When you're in a stressed state, your body is in fight or flight mode. Blood gets redirected away from your pelvic area, muscles stay tense, and your mind becomes distracted. Trying to masturbate or experience pleasure in that state not only reduces enjoyment, but increases your risk of strain and dysfunction. Mindful masturbation means entering the moment with calm, with gratitude, and with presence. It's about letting go of distractions, letting go of pressure, and remembering that this act is a form of healing, not just release. Self-care doesn't mean abandoning desire, it means refining it. When you hydrate well and lower your stress before engaging in self-pleasure, you are honoring your body's signals. You're sending a message to your nervous system that this experience is safe, that it's restorative, that it's yours to enjoy on your terms. This isn't about giving up what you love. It's about protecting it, preserving it, and elevating it to something far more meaningful. Your health and your pleasure do not have to be at odds. When you learn to approach self-pleasure as a conscious practice, everything shifts. Your body responds with more grace, your mind feels more at peace, and your life becomes richer, not just in sensation, but in wisdom. Prostate health is something every man should prioritize, especially as he ages. The prostate is a small gland, but its role in sexual and urinary function is massive. As men grow older, the prostate naturally begins to enlarge, a condition known as benign prostatic hyperplasia. While this isn't cancerous, it can cause discomfort, urinary issues, and even disrupt your sexual wellness. That's why the habits you form in your later years, especially around your sexual practices, can either help preserve your prostate health or contribute to its decline. Most men aren't told this growing up. They go through life not knowing how daily habits, stress levels, diet, hydration, and sexual behavior affect such a vital part of their body. Masturbation itself is not harmful. In fact, regular ejaculation has been shown in some studies to help keep the prostate healthy by clearing out old fluids and keeping circulation active. But there's a difference between healthy frequency and compulsive behavior. There's a difference between gentle, conscious stimulation and aggressive mechanical actions that put pressure on the very area you're trying to protect. In your youth, you might have been able to get away with rushed sessions, tight grips, and forceful climaxes. But in older age, the tissues surrounding your prostate are more sensitive, and any unnecessary strain can lead to inflammation or pain. You need to adjust with the times. You need to mature not just in age, but in your relationship with pleasure. Let each moment of self-touch be one of respect and patience. Listen to your body. Understand its new thresholds. Create space for sensation without the pressure to perform. You're not less of a man because your body has changed. You're more of one because you're learning to adapt. That's where listening to your body becomes the next level of wisdom. Too many men ignore or suppress the signs that something's not quite right. A bit of discomfort here, a strange pressure there, difficulty urinating, burning sensations, delayed orgasms. These are not just random issues. They are your body's way of asking for attention. When you brush those signals off or try to push through them, you risk turning something minor into a chronic condition. Pain during ejaculation, lingering pelvic tension, or irregular flows aren't things to be tolerated. They're feedback. Your body is always speaking. The question is, are you listening? Developing a habit of tuning in starts with small changes. During self-pleasure, slow down. Notice where you're tense. Notice if your breathing is shallow. Notice if your body feels tight or relaxed. If you feel any discomfort, stop. If something feels off, don't override it. Take a break. Drink water, stretch, meditate. Allow yourself to build a relationship with your body that's based on conversation, not control. This is not weakness. This is strength. The man who knows his own limits and adjusts accordingly is far wiser than the one who refuses to change and suffers for it. This level of awareness also gives you power. It makes you more in control of your arousal, your energy, and your recovery. You become not just a man who experiences pleasure, but a man who cultivates it, manages it, and grows from it. You don't need to feel ashamed of needing more time, more softness, or more mindfulness. You've earned the right to approach pleasure with grace. Every signal your body sends you is a map toward greater well-being. Don't ignore it. Honor it. There's nothing to prove anymore. There's only something to preserve: your vitality, your peace, your health. You still deserve connection. You still deserve joy. But now it's time to approach it with the wisdom and care that comes from years of living, learning, and evolving. Listen to your body like you would listen to a friend. It's always on your side. Balance pleasure with self-respect. This is one of the most powerful lessons a man can learn as he ages. Too often, the conversation around sexuality becomes about performance, about how long, how hard, how often. But when you've lived through decades of experience, you begin to realize that true satisfaction doesn't come from chasing extremes. It comes from being at peace with yourself, knowing your body, and honoring its needs. Self-respect means understanding that your body is not a machine. It's a living, responsive, aging system that thrives when treated with care. There is nothing shameful about seeking pleasure. You are not too old for it, you are not past your time, and you are not less of a man for adjusting the way you approach it. Self-respect in the realm of sexuality is about rejecting the toxic idea that aging should come with silence, guilt, or embarrassment. Instead, it's about recognizing that the relationship you have with your body is just as important now, if not more, than it was when you were young. This is the phase of life where every action must come from intention, not impulse. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, but you owe it to yourself to treat your body with dignity, When you make space for mindful pleasure, you're reinforcing your own worth. When you refuse to rush, when you choose comfort and health over intensity, you are sending a message to yourself that your well-being matters. This is where true power lies, not in the frequency of your orgasms, but in the quality of your relationship with your body and your mind. There is strength in slowing down. There is wisdom in listening. There is healing in taking your time. Every choice you make in this area is either nourishing your long-term health or draining it. Choose nourishment. Choose respect. Choose balance. Pleasure and self-respect are not in conflict. They're partners. When you treat yourself with respect, the pleasure becomes deeper, more meaningful, and more sustainable. When you approach your body with gratitude instead of frustration, with patience instead of pressure, you unlock a different kind of satisfaction, one that doesn't burn out, but builds over time. You are allowed to feel good. You are allowed to experience intimacy with yourself in a way that uplifts rather than exhausts you. Respecting your body doesn't mean giving up pleasure. It means finally understanding how to receive it without damage or regret. Stay empowered, not ashamed. That is the attitude that transforms your later years from decline to growth. So many men fall into silence as they age. They stop talking about their needs. They stop asking questions. They stop seeking answers. And over time, this silence becomes a cage. But empowerment is the opposite of silence. Empowerment is when you reclaim your voice, when you admit your concerns, when you seek knowledge instead of hiding from change. Aging is not a punishment. It's a different chapter. And like any chapter, it brings new challenges, but also new ways to thrive. Shame is the enemy of health. It causes you to ignore pain, to suppress emotion, to keep secrets from your doctor, to avoid talking to your partner. Empowerment is about stepping into the light. It means saying yes to your health, yes to your pleasure, and yes to evolving. It means acknowledging that while your body may not work the same way it once did, you're not broken. You're simply being called to adapt, to explore, to be curious, to be honest. Your intimate life in older age is not over. It's just different. And different can be better when you're intentional about it. When you stop hiding, stop rushing, stop pretending, you create space for something more real, something more lasting, something that nourishes both your body and your spirit. Stay proud of who you are. Stay curious about who you're becoming. And stay connected to the truth that pleasure and self-worth do not expire with age. They evolve, and so can you. You are not past your prime. You are evolving into a deeper, wiser version of yourself. But evolution demands adaptation. Treat your body with reverence. Take your time, hydrate, breathe, listen to your body, and if something hurts, stop. Pleasure isn't just about intensity, it's about balance. Choose health over haste, mindfulness over mindlessness, and you'll not only preserve your prostate, you'll reclaim a new, powerful connection with yourself because you still deserve joy, you still deserve health, and most of all, you still deserve to feel alive.